In 1587, 115 English colonists vanished from the face of the earth, leaving behind only a single word carved into a wooden post, Croatoan. No bodies, no signs of struggle, no indication of where an entire community of men, women, and children could have gone. For over 400 years, the disappearance of the Roanoke colony has remained America's oldest unsolved mystery. What happened on that remote island off the coast of North Carolina defies every logical explanation. This wasn't a case of gradual abandonment or obvious disaster. An entire settlement, including Virginia Dare, the first English child born in the New World, simply ceased to exist between 1587 and 1590, leaving behind one of history's most haunting puzzles. Today we're going to piece together the evidence, examine the theories that have emerged over 4 centuries of investigation, and explore new discoveries that might finally shed light on what really happened to the lost colony. From Spanish conspiracies to integration with native tribes, from starvation to supernatural explanations, prepare to dive deep into a mystery that continues to baffle historians, archaeologists, and investigators to this day. Welcome back to the channel. If you're fascinated by unsolved historical mysteries, you're about to discover why the Roanoke colony disappearance remains one of the most compelling enigmas in American history. The story of Roanoke isn't just about a group of missing colonists. It's about ambition, survival, political intrigue, and the clash of civilizations in the New World. To understand what happened, we need to examine the complex web of circumstances that led to the colony's establishment, the challenges they faced, and the critical decisions that may have sealed their fate. We'll explore the timeline of events leading up to the disappearance, the physical evidence left behind, the various theories that have been proposed over the centuries, recent archaeological discoveries that have changed our understanding of the mystery, and what modern forensic techniques are revealing about this 400-year-old cold case. The disappearance of Roanoke represents more than just a historical curiosity. It's a window into the brutal realities of early colonial life, the complex relationships between European settlers and indigenous peoples, and the thin line between survival and extinction in an unforgiving new world. To understand the mystery, we must first understand the man who created it. Sir Walter Raleigh, one of Elizabeth I's most ambitious courtiers, had grand visions of establishing an English empire in the New World. After failed attempts in the 1580s, Raleigh organized what he hoped would be a permanent settlement on Roanoke Island, located off the coast of present-day North Carolina. The location was both strategic and problematic. Roanoke Island offered protection from Spanish naval forces while providing access to the mainland, but it was also isolated, surrounded by treacherous waters, and located in territory controlled by various Native American tribes who had already had negative experiences with previous English expeditions. In 1587, John White led 115 colonists to establish what they called the city of Raleigh. Unlike previous attempts that focused primarily on military outposts or treasure hunting, this expedition included entire families, including White's own pregnant daughter Eleanor and her husband Ananias Dare. Their intention was to create a genuine community, not just a temporary settlement. The colony faced immediate challenges. They arrived later in the season than planned, making it difficult to establish adequate food supplies before winter. Relations with local Native American tribes were tense due to conflicts from previous English expeditions. Supply lines from England were unreliable and dependent on hazardous ocean crossings that could take months. Most critically, the colonists found themselves caught between larger geopolitical forces. Spain considered all of the Americas to be under their dominion and actively sought to eliminate English settlements. The ongoing conflict between England and Spain meant that supply ships could be delayed, captured, or redirected to military purposes at any time. John White faced an impossible decision. The colony desperately needed supplies and reinforcements, but leaving to obtain them would mean abandoning the settlers, including his newborn granddaughter Virginia Dare, the first English child born in America. The colonists convinced him that his connections in England made him their best hope for securing the resources they needed to survive. White departed for England in late 1587, expecting to return within months. Instead, he became trapped by circumstances beyond his control. England was preparing for the Spanish Armada, and every available ship was pressed into military service. White's attempts to organize a relief expedition were repeatedly thwarted by wartime priorities, inadequate funding, and bureaucratic obstacles. When White finally managed to return to Roanoke in August 1590, he found the settlement completely abandoned. Houses had been dismantled in an orderly fashion, suggesting a planned departure rather than a hasty evacuation. Personal belongings were missing, but there were no signs of violence or struggle. The defensive palisade remained intact, and there were no bodies or graves to indicate mass death. The only clues were cryptic messages carved into trees and posts. The word Croatoan was carved into a fence post, while CRO appeared on a nearby tree. Before leaving in 1587, White had arranged with the colonists that they would carve their destination into a tree if they were forced to relocate, and would include a cross if they were in distress. Notably, no crosses accompanied either carved message. White interpreted these carvings as indicating that the colonists had moved to Croatoan Island about 50 miles south, where they had established friendly relations with the native Croatoan tribe. However, severe weather prevented White from sailing to Croatoan to verify this theory, and he was forced to return to England without confirming the fate of the colonists. The evidence left behind tells a story that's both tantalizing and frustratingly incomplete. Archaeological investigations have revealed that the colonists didn't simply vanish overnight. The careful dismantling of structures suggests they had time to plan their departure and took their most valuable possessions with them. Recent excavations have uncovered artifacts that extend the timeline of the mystery. European objects found at various sites across the region suggest that some colonists, or at least their possessions, traveled much further than previously thought. Copper artifacts, glass beads, and other European trade goods have been discovered at Native American sites throughout eastern North Carolina, indicating complex patterns of interaction and exchange. DNA studies of modern populations have added another layer to the evidence. Some families in the region, particularly among the Lumbee tribe, show genetic markers consistent with European ancestry dating to the late 16th century. While not conclusive proof, these findings support theories that at least some colonists integrated with local Native American communities. Archaeological work on Hatteras Island, formerly known as Croatoan Island, has revealed a mixed community where English and Native American artifacts are found together in the same archaeological layers. This suggests sustained interaction between European and indigenous peoples during the time period when the Roanoke colonists disappeared. Ground-penetrating radar and other modern techniques have identified previously unknown structures and burial sites in the region. Some of these discoveries show European construction techniques combined with Native American materials and methods, potentially indicating collaboration between the missing colonists and local tribes. Tree ring analysis has provided insights into the environmental conditions the colonists faced. The late 1580s and early 1590s saw one of the worst droughts in the region's recorded history. This environmental crisis would have made survival extremely difficult and might have forced the colonists to seek help from Native American communities who had better knowledge of how to survive in such conditions. Over 4 centuries, numerous theories have emerged to explain the colonists' fate, each supported by different pieces of evidence and historical interpretation. The integration theory suggests that the colonists, faced with starvation and isolation, sought refuge with friendly Native American tribes. This theory is supported by the Croatoan carving, the absence of distress markers and genetic evidence among modern populations. Archaeological findings showing mixed European and Native American communities provide additional support for this explanation. The Spanish elimination theory proposes that Spanish forces viewing English settlements as illegal incursions into Spanish territory systematically destroyed the colony. Spanish records from the period show awareness of English settlements and plans to eliminate them. However, no Spanish accounts claim credit for destroying Roanoke, and the orderly abandonment of the site doesn't match typical Spanish military actions. The starvation and disease theory suggests that the colonists succumbed to the harsh realities of colonial life. The severe drought, combined with inadequate supplies and limited agricultural knowledge, may have led to the colony's gradual collapse. Bodies might have been buried in locations that haven't been discovered, or remains could have been scattered by natural processes over 4 centuries. The relocation theory proposes that the colonists moved inland to establish a new settlement in a more favorable location. This theory is supported by the planned nature of their departure and reports from later expeditions of European-like communities in the interior. However, no definitive archaeological evidence of such a community has been found. Some theories involve multiple outcomes, suggesting that the colony split into several groups that met different fates. Some colonists might have integrated with Native American tribes, others might have attempted to sail back to England, and still others might have tried to establish new settlements elsewhere. Recent developments in archaeology, genetics, and historical research have provided new insights into the Roanoke mystery, though they've also raised additional questions. The First Colony Foundation has conducted extensive archaeological work across eastern North Carolina, uncovering evidence of European presence at multiple sites during the relevant time period. These discoveries suggest a more complex story than simple disappearance, indicating that the colonists or their descendants had extensive interactions across a wide geographic area. Advances in DNA analysis have allowed researchers to examine genetic markers in modern populations with greater precision. While the results are intriguing, they're not conclusive enough to definitively solve the mystery. The genetic evidence suggests European ancestry in the region dating to the appropriate time period, but it's impossible to prove direct descent from the specific Roanoke colonists. Recent re-examination of historical documents has revealed previously overlooked clues. Spanish archives contain references to English settlements that may relate to Roanoke survivors. Native American oral traditions, when properly documented and analyzed, provide additional perspectives on what may have happened to the colonists. Advances in environmental archaeology have provided new insights into the conditions the colonists faced. Analysis of tree rings, pollen samples, and other environmental indicators shows that the late 16th century was a period of significant climate stress in the region. This environmental context helps explain why the colonists might have been forced to make desperate choices for survival. New archaeological techniques, including ground-penetrating radar and advanced metal detection, have identified numerous sites that warrant further investigation. Some of these sites show evidence of European occupation during the relevant time period, though definitive proof of connection to the Roanoke colonists remains elusive. The mystery of Roanoke continues to evolve as new evidence emerges and new techniques become available. Each discovery adds pieces to the puzzle, but the complete picture remains frustratingly out of reach. What makes the Roanoke mystery so enduring isn't just the absence of a definitive answer, but what it represents about the human experience. Here were ordinary people, families with children, facing extraordinary circumstances in an alien environment. Their story touches on fundamental themes of survival, adaptation, and the lengths people will go to protect their loved ones. The evidence suggests that the colonists didn't simply vanish into thin air. Instead, they made calculated decisions about their survival, possibly splitting up, definitely moving from their original location, and likely integrating with Native American communities to varying degrees. The mystery isn't whether they disappeared, but how they adapted and what became of them over time. Perhaps the most remarkable aspect of the Roanoke mystery is how it continues to yield new information after more than 4 centuries. Each generation of researchers brings new techniques and perspectives to the investigation, gradually building a more complete understanding of what happened on that remote island. The story of Roanoke also serves as a reminder of how precarious early colonial life really was. These weren't conquistadors or hardened explorers, but ordinary families attempting to build new lives in an unfamiliar world. Their disappearance illustrates the thin line between success and failure, survival and extinction that characterized early European attempts to establish permanent settlements in America. Modern DNA analysis, archaeological techniques, and historical research may eventually provide more definitive answers about the fate of the Roanoke colonists. Until then, the mystery continues to captivate us because it represents something fundamentally human, the desire to know what happened to people who faced impossible choices and somehow found the courage to make them. The lost colony of Roanoke reminds us that history is full of ordinary people who faced extraordinary circumstances and whose stories continue to resonate across centuries. Whether they successfully integrated with Native American communities, established new settlements elsewhere, or met some other fate, their courage in facing the unknown continues to inspire us today. What do you think happened to the lost colony of Roanoke? Do you believe the evidence points toward integration with Native American tribes? Or do you think there's another explanation that better fits the facts? Are there aspects of this mystery that particularly intrigue or puzzle you? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let me know if there are other historical mysteries you'd like me to investigate. If you enjoyed this deep dive into one of America's most enduring puzzles, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more explorations of history's greatest unsolved cases. As the settlers sailed away, they left behind a mystery that would baffle historians for centuries. Some believe they integrated with local tribes, while others suggest more sinister reasons for their disappearance. This enigma captivates our imagination as we ponder the fate of those brave individuals who ventured into the unknown. The stories and theories surrounding their disappearance continue to spark curiosity and debate among historians and enthusiasts alike. Next week, we'll be examining another fascinating disappearance, the lost expedition of Percy Fawcett in the Amazon, and the century-long search for the legendary city of Z. Until then, keep questioning, keep exploring, and remember that sometimes the most compelling stories are the ones where we have to piece together the truth from fragments left behind. Thanks for joining me on this journey into the past. Whether the Roanoke colonists found salvation or met tragedy, their story continues to remind us of the resilience of the human spirit in the face of the unknown. As we delve deeper into Percy Fawcett's tale, we'll uncover the myths and facts surrounding his expedition, exploring the challenges he faced in the depths of the jungle and the impact of his disappearance on future explorers. This isn't just a story of adventure, it's a narrative that intertwines hope, ambition, and the unyielding quest for knowledge. Join us as we peel back the layers of history, revealing not only what happened to Percy Fawcett, but also how his story has inspired countless adventurers to seek out their own legends. The search for the city of Z continues to captivate imaginations, reminding us that the quest for discovery is often filled with both peril and wonder.